popcorn. We are two niggas spoiling movies. Yeah. Brandon Collins, that's me, and Justin Brown for your movie needs. Media popcorn. Woo! You haven't seen it, well, we're gonna spoil it. Spoil it in your face. That's your warning. So if you get pissed, it's all your fault. What's up, media popcorn, little biscuits, and sun-dried tomatoes? This is Brandy.
Wait, did you say Brandy?
That was my impression of Cuba in this fucking movie. This is Brandon. This is Brandon. And who are you, sir, on the other end?
This is Justin.
We are media popcorn, spoiling movies. And boy, howdy. I mean, we're not spoiling this movie. I mean, you know what? Spoiler, it's trash. We're talking about Radio, the 2003 American biopic, sports drama that's directed by Mike Tollin and written by Mike Rich. Now, I'll let you guess, listeners, if those mics are people of color. Spoiler alert, they're not. And it was very evident from everything about this movie. Justin, I saw Radio when it first came out in 2003. I saw it in the movie theater. Okay. Saw it in the movie theater. And it was one of those situations where, like, we've talked about this before in the podcast. Remember when I talked about Chappelle's show and how, like it was the nigger family sketch. Yeah, where all these white kids are laughing, and I'm like, I don't feel good about this at all. I remember seeing this movie in a packed out theater surrounded by white people, and from minute one, the way that just Cuba was pushing that grocery cart, I was like, I do not feel good about this. I do not like this. And that's before he uttered a word, Justin. Then once he started talking, I was like, this is so offensive on so many levels. But what are your thoughts on Radio, Justin?
Well, what about them teeth, Brandon?
Dude, I mean, even when they showed the real life Radio, right? And yes, clearly, has a disability and stuff, and he's darker skinned, which is crazy with the racial casting. But his teeth aren't even that bad. Maybe they fixed them, but like they weren't as bad as Cuba's. Cuba's was that was some wild shit, bro.
But at the same time, we did see an older Radio.
Yes.
So his his like front teeth were out and things like that. This is the real Radio. Now let's also like you said, this is based off of semi-based off of a true story, right?
Yeah, it's inspired by a 1996 Sports Illustrated article called "Someone to Lean On" by Gary Smith.
Yes.
How much do you know about the real story, though, Justin? Because I wonder how many liberties were taken with this story.
I mean, it seems like it does follow quite a bit of the real story. But I think the main thing is, I think that we first need to say Radio has passed on as of 2019. He was, after his mom passed, he was living with his brother and his niece. And he was 72 years old when he passed away. So rest in peace to that man.
Yes, rest in peace to James Robert Radio Kennedy.
Yes.
And honestly, I need to know who signed off. Of like, did maybe James just really enjoyed having a movie about himself? Maybe the family that Ed Harris's character might be based off of, they were like, this movie will do him service, because everything about this movie felt so wrong. It felt so. It didn't even feel like TV of the week. You know what I mean? It was like cornier than that, but also somehow more offensive. Like, I hated this movie, dude. It's almost 2 hours, and I just want I want to throw something at the TV.
Okay, so what are your true gripes with the Radio? Give it to me.
You know what it is?
I'm ready for it.
All right. I'm trying to, because this is a general episode, so I'm trying to be mindful of not having offensive language or anything like that. Not that I mean to offend, but it's just, I have to reference the Tropic Thunder bit. You can't go full F word or the R word. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
This is true. And Cuba did so bad. Like, he got nominated for a Raspberry for this. Because there was moments where
a Razzie.
Yeah, there's moments in this movie, dude. I remember seeing this in the theater. I remember that scene when he's with the clock radio and radio. He clearly has a nickname because he likes to walk around with different radios. He knows how to like kind of like change the frequency and get them to, like broken radios to work and stuff like that. And there's one scene when he's like breaking down a radio, and his mama, who I have a lot of gripes with that character, she pops in and is like, "Hey, baby, what you doing?" And I remember out loud because I was just so over this fucking movie. I was like, "He building a bomb." I got little chuckles and stuff because I'm just like, why wouldn't he? After all the torment that these kids are putting him through, they fucking locking him in closets and shit, making him cry.
So
He probably
all right,
pissed
hold on,
himself.
hold on. You can't do that. You can't do that. You can't do that because you're posing that people with disabilities, you know, are kind of violent and they're vengeful. Like
Oh
he
no,
doesn't
no,
see
I'm
the
just saying for
world.
specifically radio. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to
No,
like
no, no.
generalize.
I
I'm
get
saying
that.
for
I get that.
radio. Yeah.
All right. I get that. I understand where you're coming from. But we we can't do that.
Of
We
course, of
can't.
course.
We can't.
I'm just talking about specifically with this movie, and remind you, it's 2003, so I was like a junior or senior in high school. So I said that quip and everything, but it was also just like the message behind this movie is so white skewed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's very frustrating. All right, so this movie it's in the 1970s, and it follows
Yes.
James Radio Kennedy, and he meets Coach Harold Jones, played by Ed Harris. Radio's just kind of like he's around town. People know who he is. He's just that lonely brother that just walks around with his grocery cart full of radios and miscellaneous items. We'll call him that.
Yes.
Um,
He's kind of like the bag lady. Oh,
but even Ed Harris, I don't know. Like, I love Ed Harris. Ed Harris is probably one of my favorite actors. If I had like a top 25, he'd probably be in it. But this movie felt so weird because he's like, at one point in the movie, he's like, it's not we're like taking pity on him or anything like that, and we don't want people to feel sorry for radio, right? But like everything about what you do makes it feel like you're doing it because you feel sorry for him.
Well, and then he later tells the story about why he's so invested, and it's just like, oh, this is nothing but guilt, and you feel sorry
with
for
that kid he saw.
Yeah.
Yeah, which
So
is wild because
and you know what? And that's the thing. That's the thing. It's okay to feel sorry for someone and then want to go out of their way and go out of your way to make their life, better. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. Having empathy is a good thing.
Yeah.
But like, they made it seem like you shouldn't feel sorry for people because that's not what people want. It's like, no, sometimes like that feeling sorry, if it comes from the right place, is what we need as a community. So like that was a weird kind of thing. But I understand that if like when his daughter said it did feel a little bit wrong when she was just like, I guess you got all these people around town feeling sorry for him now, which is a good thing. It's like, what?
I mean, that whole daughter like story, like, yeah, she's gonna be a little like fucking bitter. Like, he literally is like not spending time with his family. He's spending time with radio. He's like basically radio's surrogate father. And then, it gives an impression, especially after like kind of getting an understanding of family dynamics when it comes from like, a daughter's perspective and stuff like that, and like relationship with fathers sometimes. It makes it seem like Ed Harris's character, Coach Jones, is like, this is the son I always wanted kind of vibe. You know what I mean?
So
You got to be careful with that when you have a daughter and you're neglecting her for, a boy.
And so this is the problem, I think. And now I'm just putting this on this character. I feel like he doesn't know how to connect with a young girl, but that's why he threw himself into football. And then he sees radio, somebody who needs help, and he throws himself into radio because he's better at connecting with young men as opposed to connecting with young women, which one of them is also his daughter. So I think it may also be a thing is as his daughter got older and hit the high school age, he was just like, I don't know what the fuck to do with this. But then again, this is coming from this is the 1970s. So this is a guy that was probably, grown up in like the 50s and things like that. So like, I always say, like, you have to look at the time frames. You got to look like, what was going on at the time. I could see how this may be a thing. But at the same time, you can't straight up neglect your daughter for all of these years. That's how people end up moving to Hollywood and end up in a ditch somewhere.
Jesus Christ.
No, but I mean, that's, okay. But, it's like, they're looking for a male. No, what I'm saying, they move to Hollywood, try to make it big, end up getting looking for validation from men, and then, shitty dudes be shitty dudes. Like, that's what he's setting his daughter up for. Like, that's the worst possible thing that a father can do. Like, the daddy issues thing, he is the epitome of daddy issues. He's giving her all the daddy issues.
I mean, this movie is full of nothing but daddy issues. Okay, we got to talk about a few things. And like, I want to try to go in chronological order, but actually we don't need to, because apparently the writers, according to our producer Lluvia's research, the screenwriter condensed years of real life events into one single year for the film. Also, apparently,
this is supposed to be 1 year.
And apparently Coach Jones was the JV coach, was just a JV coach. He wasn't the head coach of this team. So they you know what I mean? Like, it felt like when I remember when I watched it, I felt like they're making shit up for like Hollywood magic. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
well, yeah.
And when like, I feel like that intent, as good intention as it might have been, the execution of it is like terrible, because you got Cuba over here. First of all, at one point, Ed Harris is telling his wife, he says, you didn't see the look on that young man's face. And I wrote down, is Cuba supposed to be young? Because I understand having sympathy for others, but he looked like a grown man, dude. He looked like he was 35. We had a Dear Evan Hansen situation here, right? Like, this is like, Cuba looks so old. When he starts going to classes, I was like, even as a kid, I remember being like, what the fuck? And then two, when he has that prank pool when he goes into the girls' bathroom.
Yeah.
What's craziest about that scene, and I didn't pick it up the first time I saw this, I picked it up when I had subtitles on and was able to understand what was happening in the dialogue. Ed Harris says, it'd be one thing if that wasn't your first, he said it would be one thing if that was the first time. So that means Radio Clear has been pranked to do that more than once, or as unintentionally, or maybe intentionally, we don't fully know, gone into a girl's bathroom. And it was so fucking, I was like, yo, he's gonna be Nicki Minaj's husband. What the fuck is happening here?
God damn, Fred. God damn.
Because Justin, how old is he supposed to be in this movie? How old do you think he's supposed to be?
He's supposed to be 23.
You mean 43?
No, he's supposed to be 23 in this film when we meet him.
That's an orphan situation. That's a grown ass man. That's not a kid.
Well, I mean, how old was Cuba Gooding Jr. when he did this film? This is 2003.
He's probably in his late 20s. Like, no, he had to be in his early 30s.
Early 30s. Actually, no, this was so at 23.
2003. He's 58 now.
Yeah, so this was like 23, 24,
yeah, he's like in his mid-30s.
Yeah, he's in his mid-30s when he did this.
And you can tell he's in high school doing announcements. So even from a fucking, even from a filming perspective, he shouldn't have been allowed that school. Him going into that bathroom, like literally on set, all those women had to be over 18.
Well, because I mean, not necessarily, because nobody was naked. They were all just wearing towels and shit that. But
no matter what, man. And
most likely they're over 18.
But to also know that Cuba in real life is a creep, that's wild. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Bro, true. I cannot tell you how offended I was as a black man, as a young black man in 2003, when radio's doing the school announcements. Like, this radio. This is Cootie at his finest. This is exquisite, has been like just roasting in a wooden barrel coonery, like for 30 fucking years, however old Cuba was when he made this. It's just insane. It's coonery on another level.
I mean, listen,
again, it does go right back to Tropic Thunder. You never go full. You never go full. He did. I mean, this is the case. This is a case study for that scene in Tropic. Did he reference this movie in Tropic Thunder? Was this movie referenced?
He referenced I Am Sam.
I Am Sam. I Am Sam. Yeah. But they should have referenced this.
Yeah. Okay. Here's the thing. So in this movie, the reason why Coach Jones and Radio become close is because Coach Jones finds Radio basically almost hog-tied in the storage closet, and they were throwing footballs at the shed.
Yeah, right? They had some of the football players had beat him up, and he was in and they were throwing like shit at the thing, and like, all right, first of all.
It's because he took the football, right, in his cart when it, like, got thrown out of bounds. They're just like, give us back our ball. And he's like, no. And he just runs away in his grocery cart with the ball.
No, he just took the football and put it in his cart and then walked away, because he's.
No, he knew what he was doing. He knew he was taking that ball.
Either way, whether he knew he was doing or not. Yeah. These kids then targeted him and then like beat him up and things like that.
Yeah, bootleg Zac Efron over here, who Radio apologizes to, and he's like, you know what, this slow black boy, he's a good one. Like that, I hated that heel turn.
Yeah,
that was so disingenuous. I'm like, this white dude is so evil, right, at the beginning, and then we're supposed to like do a heel turn because he sees how understanding Radio tries to be to everybody, how nice. No, those people don't change,
because he thought that Radio snitched on him, and he's like, he didn't snitch on me. Oh man, I could beat this black guy up and nothing's gonna happen. But you know what? I'm not gonna do that because I'm a kind white boy.
Yeah. Dude, that coach, that actually made me hate Coach Jones within 20 minutes of this movie, because after he finds Radio in the closet, what does he make the players do? He makes them run sprints all day into the night, right? And you didn't have to watch some of those kids, including bootleg Zac Efron's face, and see how angry they're getting, and be like, it doesn't take a logical man to be like, ooh, this might escalate things.
No.
You don't think so?
You have you have. They have to be punished. They have to be punished.
Well, yeah,
but also at the same time, I would have made it very clear. It was just like, if I catch anybody messing with this guy, it's like, you are going to answer to me, and I will make sure you never play football ever again. Like, you're off the team. I would have made it very clear. You had it should have been hard line. But also what pissed me off, because this is during the 70s.
Yeah.
They had a black player.
Yes, I wrote that down. I was like, there's a brother on this team.
No, but they had a black player who was also involved with the beating up of Radio and shit like that.
Yep.
And in the 70s, you're telling me that some black kid would sign up and do some shit like that, knowing full well that, like, the implications of what, not just the implication, like this is almost like a fucking lynching.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in a way that's technically what it is. Like, this is something that a bunch of white kids do together, and they think it's funny. It's like, I could see how a black kid could be around that, but I don't think that they would actively be involved in all that shit. That one, that upset me. That fucking upset me. I was just like, nigga, what are you doing? What are you doing out there with these kids doing this? Like, doing this, you're doing this with them. That shit pissed me off, man.
At the very least, they should have discussed it or explored that, and they don't. That's what as I was rewatching this, I'm like, some white guys made this. Like, that wasn't the question I was asking when I first saw this in the theater. I knew it wasn't sitting well with me, and now that I know how films are made, who actually gets the opportunity to tell these stories, it's because at the end of the day, it's kind of like, well, what was the point of telling this story? Because I don't think it does justice to Radio. I don't think it just does justice to his family. Because the way they show his mom, played by the great Abatha Merkinson from Law and Order, clearly, she works a lot, but her son is a wanderer in a town that's not very welcoming and friendly to him, despite how friendly he is. And when Ed Harris's character shows up, like dropping him off, and it's like, all right, have a good day, Radio, and stuff like that. Clearly, like, if you didn't trust Radio around these men in this town, like, you should have figured something else out. And the way that she looks at Coach Jones, I was kind of like, well, now we got some problems, lady, because you can't just have your grown son walking around this town, getting into shenanigans and stuff, and then like one person actually is kind enough to drive him home with his cart and everything like that. He seems to be in one piece and stuff. He seems to be really happy that someone actually took the time to speak to him. And you gonna side eye this man? Out of all, and I get like, father figures and like, because I'm a probably, I'm an only child, single mother and stuff like that. But it's like, if you're gonna be skeptical of that, then you need to like keep better monitoring of your son. You know, I mean, you have to figure something out. Like maybe because you know what I mean. Like it's like I know it's a challenge. It's a challenge, right? But the way they betrayed this character, this mom, was so wild and like I said, everything's offensive to me with this fucking movie because it's like, okay, you're not going enough into her story and what she struggles through as a single black mother trying to deal, support a disabled son in a fucked up town in the 70s.
But I think it's all about
Ed Harris.
But I think like they kind of it's like she's working nonstop because she has to be able to uphold this household or whatever. Yeah. So she's working a double shift at the hospital. It's like, and I think that she's being overworked, underpaid, which probably led to the heart attack that she had, or stroke that she had to end up killing her.
Yeah,
yeah. So like.
I hated that, by the way. I hated that
What's
fucking
that?
turn because it just emphasized the white savior element of that Jones family. Well, I hated that.
Like what he did for Christmas. Like, yeah, that's really nice and all that. But again, like if you're thinking white savior, oh baby, we lean hard to it. We're leaning hard.
They may as well have danced to that song together, like white savior, he's here. Set to close. Yeah, it was insane, dude. Like this whole movie, I'm like, I hate everything that y'all doing here, especially because it's inspired by the true story of radio. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, but like you said, this is like a Disney retelling of it.
No, Disney's more fun, man. Think about Remember the Titans.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think Remember the Titans was a necessarily fun movie. A kid gets paralyzed at the
end. Yes, that's true. It does take a turn in the third act. That's fair. That
and
guy's
then they get their ass whooped in the fucking final game.
Who is he playing? Thor? No, who's he playing in this show? That actor. Oh, that actor is actually fucking what's his name? He's the main dude.
Wait, what are you talking?
Why am I blanking on the names of the God of War? Fuck, the main character.
Oh, it's not Thor.
Kratos. Thank you. Yeah. So the actor that played Thor in the video game, he's playing Kratos in the real show.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah, okay. Yeah. And that's a good actor too. Like, cause Sons of Anarchy, he was really good. And Bates Motel, actually, he was really good. He was fucking creepy as hell in that show, in a show full of creeps.
Okay.
We gotta talk about.
We need to get through this fucking movie.
Yeah.
Get this fucking movie.
Deborah Winger looked great in this movie. Apparently, this is her first movie in years. In 8 years. So that's cool.
Yeah. The mom.
Yeah, she looked great.
So all right,
but I hated the whole family dynamic and the way they talked about radio was like they felt sorry for him as a couple. The way they talked about radio.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It would have been one thing if they gave us more character development about like more context about the mom and like how she, tried to raise radio and like what services they could find for radio. It was just more like, oh, he doesn't have a great life. We gotta do what we can. It's very simple language that they're using talking about radio.
Yeah.
WC.
I mean, I don't know. It's like I feel like there are parts of this film which are touching and things like that. But also, I feel like the touching parts of the film, especially like when his mom dies, and Ed Harris goes into the house to talk to radio, and his daughter's there. If I'm his daughter, right, and I'm listening to my dad console this young boy. I would be so pissed off considering my own relationship with my father.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'd be like, what the fuck, Dad? It's like, you can give him this right now. You never gave me an ounce of this.
Yeah. Now I'm going to ask someone that's really, I think it's an honest question. And then I kind of think it, depending on our answers, I think it turns the movie on its head a little bit. Right.
Okay.
We don't understand. Well, they don't never fully say what like radio's disability is. Right. I'm guessing it's probably like, like mental disability, mentally disabled.
Okay, so hold on. Before we get there, do you want to know what the real radio's actual disability was?
Oh, sure. Yeah. What was it? What was it classified
so
as?
he it was brain damage from an accident. He had severe head trauma. So like, yeah,
why did they put that in the story?
I don't know, but like
that's even worse.
That's the real. So like, my mom's cousin, or like, I guess my cousin Michael, same way. He was actually hit by a car, and it completely changed him.
Yeah.
And very not as radio-esque, but like on that same spectrum. So it's brain damage that caused his disability.
This is even more egregious. And folks, I'm sorry for like harping on this, but now I'm actually like, I'm very offended, right? Because we have the scene. I literally wrote down like, we don't see the mom till about 40 minutes into this movie. Cause I literally wrote down like, where his mama been this whole time? She pops up.
Yeah.
Then Ed Harris point blank asked the mom, he says, I don't mean to offend, ma'am, but what exactly is wrong with radio? She says, well, the doctors can never quite figure it out. They said he's the same as everybody else, but slower than most. A little
slower. Yeah.
And so the fact that he had a traumatic brain injury from some type of incident, and I just saw on the Wikipedia page, it doesn't say like what was the cause of the injury. That I think that should disqualify you from telling this story.
Well, it's just the fact is like, no, you can tell the story. You can tell the story, but be true to the story.
Exactly.
Because it doesn't take away from the fact that he's disabled.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? It's just like, but there's so many different kinds of disabilities out there. His was caused by an accident. Yes, that happens, right? And that's fine to tell. But it seemed like they just wanted to sway into it. Just like, yeah, the boy it's an R word. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to being this like, hey, something traumatic happened to him, and physically, and then he now has this issue.
But that's where I think that it's most egregious, right, Justin? Because if you're not going to be true fully to the character, that's not just radio. That's also true to the problematic, racist, evil characters, right? Because that kind of it's intentionally kind of softening them. Because if we as an audience knew that radio not only had this disability, but it was caused by something that was like literally like it couldn't be foreseen, and like it's not genetic, anything like that, right? And so these people knowing that and are still vicious towards him, that makes him even more morally bankrupt, right?
Yeah.
And so there's so many things that have to like consider that to omit that from the screenplay and the story. That for me, again, that's discounted.
But at the same time, I think you also have to take into account that like radio's 23 years old. These are high school students,
played by a 36-year-old.
Yes, but they don't necessarily know what radio's story was, and also they're high school students, so they're assholes. They're high school boys. They would be assholes, and they think that they're very fucking. They think they know everything, but they don't know shit. So like, I can see how like that's gonna get lost in translation. But at the end, and like you said in the chat, also the time period is in the 70s.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying. So the intolerance is at an all-time peak. Only unless you're going back to like the.
But that's
20s.
why I say just lean into the truth. Lean more into the truth then.
Well, I mean, if we're gonna lean into the truth, they would have put radio in the institution and locked him up, and we never would have seen him. But this
lean into the truth of his story. That's not what happened in real life, though. I'm trying to like stick to his real story.
Yeah, but the only reason that stuff didn't happen is at that time he would have been in. They had just shut down the institutions for all the horrible human atrocities that they were doing towards people with mental disabilities. So it's like I feel like all of this is just like there's no happy place because you're gonna have to deal with something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
With some ugly truth to it. But I'm not disagreeing with you. Like, you are correct. They should have just kept it what it is. But Hollywood, baby, come on.
I hated it. I hated Cuba. Everything that he did in this movie when he was like, bad radio. I was just like, this is like an SNL sketch. This is
when he screamed out the play. Reverse. And the guy's just like, yeah, let's listen to him. Reverse.
Our producers asking if we think that this ruined Cuba's career. This definitely didn't help. I believe,
Cuba ruined his own career.
It was already struggling, right? Because before this, he was doing Snow Dogs, Boat Trip. Then this came out. Shadow
Boat Trip with the wonderful Rosalind Sanchez.
But yeah, he was already struggling. It took him a while before he had like a glimmer of a comeback, which was American Gangster. He had that good Nucky Barnes moment, and then he was an American Crime Story. Nucky Barnes. I got fucking confused. American Gangster and Boardwalk Empire. That was crazy. What's wild is that the one Teamster trying to basically pressure Coach Jones to not bring radio around, to the point where Coach Jones just like, you know what, everybody, I'm gonna quit. Just like, everyone is like, yeah, see what you did, Frank. Fuck around and found out.
It's funny though, because like somebody like I've seen like parents like that, who do that kind of stuff. And in real time, in my life, and I was just was like, what are you doing? Why do you care so much? Why is this a thing that you feel that you need to be, you need to come down and put your fucking terrible 2 cents in? Like, why are you getting involved in kids' business like this? I don't know. I always found that to be very weird and strange that, people are like this, especially when it comes to just, affecting children's lives in a negative way. I don't know. It's just, that was always just weird to me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a weird thing. At the end, supposedly radio graduates and has an honorary diploma and gets a letterman jacket from the football. They showed a little like epilogue montage at the real radio and Coach Jones as they're leading the football team to, start the game, and how like he would be there occasionally, like the football games in the stands and stuff like that. We get this little voiceover and stuff like that. The daughter, trying to be very Remember the Titans, actually, in a way.
Yeah.
Not executed nearly as well. And I was just kind of like, I remember leaving that movie theater being just so frustrated and people not understanding why. And at the time I couldn't articulate the feelings I was having. I just knew that I was like, I don't know the intention behind telling this story. And I also feel like Cuba did not do, I don't know what his process was for being in this character, but it just feels like it didn't have the right intentions behind it. Does that make sense?
I can see why you get there. I can see how you got there. Yeah.
So,
but he probably also decided, like, I'm gonna follow radio around and I'm just gonna act just like him. Nah, nigga, that's not the way. That's not the way.
Yeah, I thank God for subtitles, because I barely can understand what he was saying when I first saw this movie, let alone when I started watching. I was like, oh, I need to put subtitles on. I don't understand what he's saying, because he's like there's a lot of times he's eating too, and he's like, oh yeah, concentration rating, I'm down to know that. I'm like, does he have auditory issues too? Like, what's going on?
Both. I want both.
Both.
The way that it's God.
No, I was gonna say, when that cop picked him up, he's like, "What you got there, boy?" Like, I got a grocery cart, and he was like, "Yeah, you're gonna come with me." And it takes him to the station, and then he's cowering in the corner and stuff, and the 2 cops recognize him. Like, oh, that's radio. I'm like, okay, who doesn't know who radio it is at this point?
No, in this town? So that cop was
new, right?
He was new. He was only there for like a week.
Yeah, but Justin, This doesn't seem like a big of enough town to not recognize the one brother that's walking around with a grocery cart.
Yes,
it wasn't like there's a community of them.
Yeah, but also, I mean, it would take a cop maybe a week to see and find Radio, and then also immediately accost him.
Yeah, you're right. He was walking on the train tracks for some reason. That's what pissed me off at the beginning. When he's on the train tracks running, and he sees the look that Cuba gives as Radio, looking back at the train approaching him. I was like, nope. I'm already offended. It's like the way he widened his eyes, I think it was just like, nope.
And then starts waving incessantly. Okay. All right. So I think we also got to talk about this, man. Radio, when the cop takes him in, it's Christmas Day. This is Christmas morning. So it's Christmas morning. Radio's walking around and he's giving away some of the gifts that he got, which is a kind gesture, right? So he's giving away the gifts that he got. And then this cop rolls up, assaults him, throws him in the back of a car, and takes him to jail, right?
It's not funny. Stop laughing.
It's not funny.
Stop fucking laughing.
It's not funny. It's
Why are you laughing at it?
Because this is a
so
movie.
crazy. It's terribly executed. It's almost like a parody. It really does feel like a historical parody.
And then they make that cop is like, well, guess what? Now you are going to drive him around. You are going to be his fucking sleigh for Santa. And you're going to help him give out those fucking presents. And the look on that cop's face, he was just like, let's go back to the good old days. Let me take this Radio kid down by the docks and have a way with him. That's not the way that thing would go.
No, not at all. Not at all. We all know that. Come on.
If that cop actually took him to the station, without catching a few licks in, because I forgot where is this. This is South Carolina, right?
I believe so.
Yeah. Need I say more?
Need I
say more? South Carolina in the early 1970s. Mm-hmm. Radio would probably walked up in that fucking he probably got in that cell and he was lumped all the fuck up.
Yep.
Which probably happened, but they cut it from the script.
Oh, of course, man. I mean, yeah, they make it seem like Radio's a folk hero in this fucking town. It's like clearly not. Like if this one Teamster is going so hard about having Radio like not only like disassociated with the team, but like getting institutionalized and stuff like that, like. And also we didn't even talk about Alfred Woodard's principal character because I was like, what side are you on, lady? And if we're gonna it was just they didn't talk about anything in this movie. You know what I mean? They didn't really go deep into race relations. They didn't go into how to support people with disabilities. They didn't go into even the time period. Y'all keep posting, not posting, but y'all keep, reminding, me and the listeners this takes place in the 70s. They didn't explore that. This movie did nothing. This movie was just very much trying to be by the books. I think that's what's so offensive because when you have Ed Harris, right, a great acclaimed actor, and you have Cuba, who's clearly trying something, there had to be more conversations about how to make this film more genuine and more true. Not just to the characters, but to the time period, to the place that they filmed it. If you told me they filmed this place in some random bumfuck place in Canada, I believe it. Nothing about this movie felt authentic.
Yeah. All right. Do you think they should have actually went a little bit harder with this film and we are in South Carolina in the 70s and people were just not kind, not only because he had a mental disability, because he's mentally handicapped, but also because he's a young black man that's on top of that?
That's a good question. I think you would have had to have a different screenwriter. If this is the caliber of the screenwriting, you would have had to have a different storyteller. Because if you're going to go that hard, then you also need to make sure that you have a very clear North Star about what you're trying to say. And because I have no idea what this movie is trying to say about the story of James Radio Kennedy, I don't want to just see James Kennedy be brutalized for 2 hours. You know what I mean? Without having something powerful to say. Because I don't want to just watch black trauma. He's already disabled. Like, why would I want to do that? That's not entertainment. That's not educational. And that's why I talk about intent, because the more I've been in this business, the more I'm like, what was the intent behind making this movie? If it's to be like an Oscar movie and get Cuba another Oscar, you know what I mean? Like poorly done.
Wait, he has an Oscar?
Yeah, from Jerry Maguire, which we've never done actually. We should explore if that Oscar is warranted. Because remember, he gave that, epic speech where he's like, woo, woo, and that got parodied by Bamboozled, Spike Lee's movie. So we should revisit that.
Okay.
But you know what I mean? Like, this movie doesn't, it's like, who is this for? No one's watching this during Black History Month, except apparently us. And no one ever brings this up in regards to like best Ed Harris movie or best Cuba Gooding Jr. movie. It's like, oh yeah, that movie where he played the mentally disabled guy who just hangs around football fields. That movie? Okay. Sure. Bro, I remember Radio.
I never saw this movie until we just did it right now.
Yeah. And he also looked creepy. I think that's the way the way that Cuba played it, and maybe it's genuinely how like Radio used to hang out at the football field. He looked like a creep. Like, if there was a guy like that at our school, like for sure, like in the 90s, our parents would have been like, yeah, stay away from old Radio Kennedy over there. So that's what you got to explore. You got to talk about like the misconceptions about how the community sees someone like a Radio.
So it's tough because like, so when I was doing jiu-jitsu and whatnot, we had a guy.
Jiu-jitsu.
Okay. We had a guy who had a mental disability, Frank. He was called Frank the Tank. But Frank the Tank worked at, he did construction. So he worked on construction yards. And he would talk about how the guys at the construction yards would bully him all the time. So he was doing jiu-jitsu for, to gain confidence and just, learn how to, take care of himself and things like that. And Frank was the sweetest, nicest person, right? You'd love him and it was cool. Like I enjoyed having Frank around. But like I just I wouldn't. If someone came and was like, "Hey, we want to make a movie about Frank," I'm like, "What are you going to tell?" Like, what are you realistically? What's this story going to be about? That Frank goes after training, goes and buys a hot dog every fucking day. Like, what is the reason to tell this fucking movie? Like, what culminates from it? Is like Frank gonna beat up one of the guys, one of these guys trying to bully him on a construction yard, and he beats them up or some shit like that. He defends himself, and
But then that leads into what you were talking about earlier. That's a problem, right? It's like you don't want like to give the impression that disabled people are violent.
Exactly.
I mean?
So yeah. but that's the thing is just like I just don't understand what was the meaning of this film, and it's supposed to be a story about maybe it's about how this guy rallied this town around this one person, but at the same time, it's just like, it just seemed like while, yes, they kind of did that, they didn't really care because they had a whole meeting about how they were going to kick this guy to the fucking curb. Yeah. And now, you're telling me that they condensed a whole bunch of shit into 1 year. So this is over several years. And then they were ready to get rid of him. They were ready to toss him out. You know what I'm saying? So people didn't fucking care. Nobody cares. Yeah. But we're trying to repackage this as a story of look what happens when the collective come together to take care of their own. But they didn't.
Nope. They didn't take care of nobody but themselves.
And that's the thing that pisses me off is it's like, because the moment you told me, I was just like, oh, the moment you told me that this was like, a few years of stuff, and they just like, oh, this all happened in a year's time. That fuck you. That's bullshit. That's bullshit.
Speaking of
bullshit,
let's
go about some Letterboxd.
We got some Letterboxd reviews, right?
Mm-hmm. All right.
Pull those up.
So
baby.
Up first, we got Jake Alda Kofi. He goes, Tropic Thunder's Simple Jack plus Waterboy equals Radio. 1 star. Fair. That is a fair assessment.
That's the extra spiciness that Cuba's adding. It's the water boy. I was wondering, this isn't fully Simple Jack or I Am Sam. This is something else. And now you add in Bobby Boucher. Oh yeah, there we go. There we go.
Up next, we have Dawson Joyce. He said,
I can literally see Cuba being so fucking crazy. He just obviously Simple Jack's not around yet. I think Tropic Thunder's the year after this. Or whatever, but like he takes I Am Sam and Bobby Boucher and was like, that's radio.
like,
I got it.
Guys, I got something. I deserve Oscar.
I wonder if he was just so big at the time that the director was just like, I can't even tell him that this isn't good. You know what I mean?
Coked out.
Well, okay, now we're just getting to speculation. The views of Justin Brown.
Speculate. Hold on. Speculation.
Stick to the Letterboxd reviews. We're not going down a Cuba.
That's not speculation. Anyhow, let's go to Dawson Joyce.
Rabbit hole.
Featuring one of the most unbelievably insulting portrayals of a person with mental disabilities ever put to film, and one of the most shameful performances ever turned in by an Oscar winner. Radio does the grave disservice to the true story it's inspired by, relying more on cheap sentiment and equally cheap stereotypes to wring tears out of his audience as opposed to authenticity. 1 star. Damn, Dawson Joyce. I mean, you ain't wrong. You ain't wrong. Why'd you have to be so right? Up next, we have Mila. Wait, okay, I don't know what the hell's going on. Okay, sorry. We have Mila. I thought this was a good movie until I looked at the reviews and felt like a stupid fucking loser with no media literacy skills. 3 stars.
Hey, me, at least you're, self-reflecting.
Yeah. Then we have Adam Robishek. The director should be kicked out of the guild for letting Cuba Gooding Jr. do what he did. 1.5 stars. And last but not least, we have Alex Lenois. It truly baffles me that the general audiences ate this shit up alongside I Am Sam for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Like the former, radio is very much never go full restart, as they put it, the Simple Jack movie, in that its depiction of mental disabilities is laughable, and the presentation of the movie's awards baity as fuck. Ed Harris does give it his all at the very least. I will say that, and that's a 1.5 star. I will say, I think Ed Harris, he really tried with this. I think he tried. Even though, has he played a football coach in other movies before, or basketball coach?
No, he just plays a leader. Like he's usually like running something, whether it's Apollo 13, this movie, the Rock, the terrorist group and stuff like that. He always is leading a team. Like people follow him. He's got that commanding kind of presence.
Okay, so maybe that's it.
Yeah. Fun white people fact about Ed Harris: his wife, Amy Madigan, currently nominated for Oscar for Weapons.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're married. So we didn't get any Patreon reviews, but remember, folks, when you sign up at patreon.com/mediapopcorn, you're guaranteed to have your thoughts and reviews of those movies right on that episode. But we didn't get any because I think everyone was just like, nah. Like, I could see a lot of people skip this. Because if you saw the trailer was offensive.
Yeah. But that's the thing. I never saw this. This is the first time seeing it.
Good on you. Justin, break down our rating system, baby.
Stop calling me baby. Guys, you know how we do this. We rate movies bags of popcorn, small, medium, large, and the XL for the exceptional. If a film doesn't deserve any hot, buttery, delicious popcorn, we throw it into the stale popcorn pile. We pile piles and piles of stale popcorn on the top of it. So, Brandon, we watched a 2003 film called Radio. Your favorite, my favorite. Starring Cuba Gooding Jr. I'm only going to say his name because he deserves all the smoke for this film. What say you, sir?
I'm going to feel really bad if eventually, I run into Cuba or we have him on the show and he's like, hey, I just want to put it out there on radio. That's how the director wanted me to do it. But anyways, this gets, how many minutes was this? This is 100. This is 109 minutes. So it gets 109 piles of stale popcorn. This was offensive on a bunch of levels. Completely egregious. You said A. Harris tried in this one. I don't know, man. I didn't like it. Lluvia said it's like Sandra Bullock getting all the backlash from The Blind Side. I mean, she won an Oscar for that performance, which is wild.
Yeah.
I mean, even The Blind Side, I don't want to revisit it. Like, I don't want to watch that movie again. It's going to be very similar, but that at least was executed fairly competently, from what I understand. Right? Like, it's actually like it's not the best movie at all, and it's just one of those white savior, but like they know like how to like the beats that get you like kind of like ha ha ha, or like oh like especially in a commercial level because it was a commercial hit. Radio, on the other hand, I think it made 52 million and was like a modest hit, but most of the time people were like, yeah, what was that? So, well, for me, like this is trash.
I think we also need to point out that the gentleman that played the football player in The Blind Side, he's actually in the hospital in like critical
some life
condition.
support.
So hopefully he's able to pull through that.
Yeah, because you want to do something else besides just The Blind Side. It's the brother from The Blind Side. Because even Justin don't even know which one you are when it comes to big brothers in the industry. So Justin, what's your rating?
I'm gonna give this. I'm gonna just stale popcorn. Just gonna give it a stale popcorn. I don't know how much there deserves to be piles. You guys could fit in how many piles you want. This is not a good movie. It's not a good movie. I think they had their moments where they're trying to tug at your heartstrings, but it doesn't necessarily completely work. And I think it's they really took some liberties. And some people should definitely get on an apology tour instead of an awards tour. So 1 star.
I don't think Cuba's ever had to answer for this to the community. I don't think he's ever had to, discuss his transgressions. But, it is what it is. Folks, as always, you can follow the show at Media MP Podcast on all social media platforms. You can follow me at Frodo_Blackens on Instagram and Threads, FrodoBlackens.com for show dates, including John Black History dates, shows on Armor the City, things like that. Come fuck with me. Come learn something or just laugh or stuff like that. And Justin, how can people follow you as well as support the show financially if they choose to do so?
Guys, you can follow me at J Brown Did It on all the social media platforms, but you can also support this show. Show us some love on Patreon, patreon.com/medium popcorn. We have $2, $5, $10, and $15 packages over on Patreon. If you love this show and you want a little bit more, well, more is at your fingertips on patreon.com/medium popcorn.
Do you want more? Come on, get some. All right, y'all. Talk to y'all later. That's my football hype song for when I'm getting ready for my fantasy league.
It shouldn't be. I'm Brandon.
I'm Brandon. That's what it is. That's what his performance was. It's like I didn't even feel like he even met radio. You know what I mean? He just went to set, was like, I'm a good I like football. All right. Talk to y'all later.
Peace.
Peace.